Bible study, I kept on thinking of that Amy Grant song, that Christmas breath of heaven, light in my darkness. Finish it? Shine on me your holiness, breath of heaven. And so, but it's breath. So here we go. Yeah, we'll do by paragraph, I think. It'll be fine. It's a longer chapter, but it repeats itself a lot, so we should be okay. So they, the Israelites, set out from Elam, and all the congregation of the people of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elam and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they had departed from the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the people of Israel said to them, "Would that we had died." It's really weird to say in English. It makes a lot more sense in Spanish. Does it make sense in German to translate it that way?
I don't know German well enough.
Is that Val? Is that you? Who does German? Who knows someone do German? No? Okay. Would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full, for you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
Maybe you need to do it in a Yiddish accent, then that would make more sense.
We're not going to get it.
There are many culturally inappropriate accents that I can do. Yiddish is probably not in the list. Can you do a Yiddish accent?
No.
What would it even sound like? Besides, I know.
Boy, that we should be left in the wilderness.
Would that we had died by the hand of the Lord God in the land of Egypt, where we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full.
If I were a rich man.
If I were a rich man.
Okay, I got you off topic again. Sorry.
Oy vey. So whenever someone says oy vey, I always say vey here.
Oh.
I don't know if that makes any sense in English, but that's what I do. Oy vey, vey here, oy. Okay, so what comments, questions, concerns?
Grumbling again.
They're grumbling again.
They would rather stay in Egypt. They'd rather have stayed in Egypt than go out into the wilderness.
So what does that mean? That they would rather be in Egypt?
Well, they at least had food and water, and they knew they knew their life there. They don't.
Yeah, they do.
They would rather be slaves than be free in the wilderness.
Because they didn't care.
Because in their mind, it was better to sit by the meat pots and eat bread to the full. At least they weren't hungry. Right. Which is really important, right? When we talk about how many people, I'm going to get in trouble for asking this question, so forgive me in advance. How many of you studied psychology in college?
6 classes.
All right. It was my major, so I'm good. I got more than 6 classes, so we're good. So, have you heard of Maslow? Yeah?
Maslow's hierarchy.
Hierarchy of, I'll give you a gold star if you tell me what is the hierarchy of.
Self-fulfillment.
It is not self-actualization. No, sorry.
That's all right.
Anyone? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Hierarchy of needs. This is not where I was expecting to go, but I like it.
In business.
Oh yeah. I mean, so the goal of Maslow is self-actualization, but the triangle isn't called that, right? So you've got these base needs in order to feel okay. All right. So the first one is physical. Physical needs, which are food, clothing, shelter, warmth. If you were out in the cold in the winter, you don't care how happy you are, you just want to be warm again, right? So your physical needs generally are the basis need, and by basis I mean most basic, okay, needs that we have. Then you have emotional, which is where most people live, okay? And then after that is spiritual. And then after that is called self-actualization, where you actualize or you become your true self. Right? It is a little psychobabble-ish. However, I think we all know that on these three levels, we all have a part of ourself that needs those needs to be met, right? And you're going to care more about your physical needs than your emotional needs, is the purpose of why I'm talking this, okay? So they are grumbling because their basic needs they feel are not being met, right? So can you blame them? No, we want food. That's what we do, right? If you don't have food, you get grumpy. So you can't blame, like, and I don't know, you've heard the term hangry, right?
That's me.
Yeah, I am, the young household is number one hangry. Like, if we don't eat a square meal every 4 hours, we're like, don't take food away from Rosa. If you want her to be happy, you feed the kid. You were like the second week she was alive, just feed her. Well, it's not on like every 3 hours. Just feed her. Feed the kid. Right? And then all of a sudden, 15 minutes after she eats, everything's happy again. No problem. Right? Amanda's mom said that she was the same way. All right. All right. Comments, questions, concerns about that? Yes?
I'm able to read the top.
Self-actualization.
You are only the second person in my entire life that has not been able to read my handwriting. I take pride in being able to write so that people can read it. Well, I guess that L is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Actualization.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. I had one student my 7th year of teaching that told me they couldn't read one of my words. Go ahead.
The rest of them don't care.
Right. That's right. Yes, touche. Do you know what touche means? Do you guys know?
Agree.
Yeah, it means, but do you know what it actually means? Yeah, it's from fencing.
Mhm.
It's a fencing term.
Yep.
And touche is actually, I'm sorry, this is the language person. Touche, we see the English word
Touch.
touch. Touche is the past participle in French of touch. So it's touched. Touched you. With your, what's it called? Is it called a saber? I think it's called.
That's the different type of.
Oh, what?
Epic.
Epinard. Yeah, good. All right. Good. That took a minute.
Crossword.
What were you gonna say? Did I interrupt you?
That's okay. Came to the wilderness of sin.
Good. Yeah. What about it?
Pretty much, that was my question. How do they know it's the wilderness of sin? Is it because of the location? I mean, I'm not quite sure. Is it because only all those people are sinful, but we know we're all sinful, so I need some direction.
Oh, I see what you. Okay. That is a very good question.
You know, if they were by the bitter water, they would call it the wilderness of Mara. Meribah.
Yeah.
Two things.
Mhm.
When was Exodus written? Don't give me a year. Give me a timeline. Where in the history of Israel was Exodus? A long time ago.
Yeah.
It's
In a land
it's
far, far away.
it's over 400 years since Jacob, is it Joseph Kodamani called Jacob? Yeah.
Joseph?
Yeah.
So Joseph wrote Exodus?
No, I'm thinking it's 400. Moses wrote it.
Moses wrote.
But
So
is
when
it-
did Moses write it?
After they left
After they left,
Egypt.
and before he died.
So they were
Right.
under
So there's
40
some
years.
time of 40 years when Moses is between 80 and 120 years old. Okay, that he wrote what we call the Pentateuch, or 120, or what traditionally has been ascribed to Moses.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, it
so
tells us that this was written on, or this happened on the 15th day of the second month after they had departed from Egypt.
yeah. So we're closer to this date than the 120. Okay, currently in this chapter of Exodus, right? The other thing, so basically, when this happens, when Exodus 16 happens, it hasn't been written down yet. So we are. Moses writes about this after it happens, so they know where they are when he writes the book of Exodus, because he's going to write the book of Exodus and the book of Numbers. Okay. But there's you have a better question. Your second question was a better question.
Okay.
Okay. And you said, what is the wilderness of sin? Right? Unfortunately for us, sin in English means a trespass against God. Right? Sin in Hebrew does not mean that. It's just the name of the place. So we're not supposed to say, well, they're in the wilderness of sin and they sin because they're sinful and they grumbled and they're bad and da da da. It just so happens that the wilderness that they did this in English is the same word for trespass. Okay, so that's called a toponym. It's a place name. That's what toponym means. Topos is place. Nym is name. Okay. So later in the book of Numbers, actually, they're going to go to the wilderness of Zin, which is a separate letter, which means it's a separate place name. Even though they sound really similar to us, because one is a voiced and one is a voiceless consonant. Do you know what the difference between a voiced and a voiceless consonant is? You study linguistics? Okay. Do you want to know? Because this is the stuff I really like.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it's super easy. This is the easiest part of linguistics to figure out if a consonant is voiced or voiceless. Okay. All you have to do is take your hand, take your palm like this, put it against your throat, and go like this. Is the only thing in your throat? No. Voiceless consonant. Okay. Now go like this. You feel something?
Yep.
Voice. That's all it is. Your vocal cords moving. Okay? So voiceless means that your vocal cords don't move and that you make all the sound in your mouth. Voiced means that your vocal cords are vibrating in order to make the sound. Okay? So every consonant has three parts. Article or locale of articulation. It has a voice or it's voiceless. What's the third one? I don't remember the third one. But so there's a position in your mouth that your tongue has to go, and then you have to decide if you're going towards it or not. That's okay. It's all good. I learned all of this in Spanish, and so my definition, my terms are weird. I don't think it's called an article of articulation in English, but it is in Spanish. So I just translated. Okay,
Yes.
here we go. Anything else in this paragraph? That's gonna bother me that I can't remember the third one.
So, is Moses being inspired to write this, or is this just a historical one?
We believe that Moses was inspired to write all of the Pentateuch. Okay, so everything that's in the Pentateuch, he was inspired to write by God. Now that can include historical information that is not necessarily theological, but it can be. Depends on your interpretation of the Bible. Same thing with Daniel. Okay, so if you think about the book of Daniel, we didn't really have topics. The book of Daniel has half of the book of Daniel is not written in Hebrew. It's written in Aramaic. It's a later form of ancient Hebrew. Okay, so the letters that go back and forth in between the kings of Persia are all in Aramaic. Right? So those letters are literal historical documents. However, Daniel was inspired by God to include them in the Bible. So that it can be both and it can also be either or. Okay? Good. Do you want to talk about the subjunctive with verse 3? It's not that serious.
I underlined it because it says, died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt. So they're grumbling because they don't have any food. And they assumed that they would die, at least they were eating and they died in Egypt, but it was by the hand of the Lord.
So what are they really saying?
The food was more important.
That they are blaming
The Lord.
the Lord for dying.
Okay.
Right? Now, how you have a little therapy session. How does that make you feel?
Makes us feel sad.
To ascribe to the Lord death. Hopeless is a strong word, but accurate. Abandoned, another strong word, and also accurate. I'm thinking more of
Could be angry.
completely counterintuitive. We don't normally associate God with death. We associate God with life because of Christ dying. Okay, so you can go the New Testament route and go Christ dying and rising again for us because God gave Jesus new life, rebirth. We've been baptized into his name, therefore we will die and also rise again. Love it. Perfect gospel message. That would preach. Okay?
Noah and the ark.
Okay, so you can go the Old Testament route, you can go Noah and the ark, right? So yeah, God did actually cause death for the entire world. However, he saved a remnant in the 8 people in the ark. And you can go even further back and say God is life from creation. Because God made life. God doesn't make death, God makes life. So we have to consider the depth of the sin of the Israelites to ascribe death to God. It is completely against future and what we've already learned about God in the Old Testament, just in the first 2 books of the Old Testament.
How faithful were these Israelites, though, to God? Even if they were brought up in it, the whole tribes of Israel together, even, yeah, there might not be such believers, even though they've seen the miracles that God has done with all of the plagues, and they have been spared what the Egyptians had. They went through the Red Sea, but every time they are grumbling, they are not having a faith that God will bring them through this. They're just grumbling.
So I'm going to say what you said with different words and tell me if I'm right. Okay? We can't really blame the Israelites because they had over the majority, 95% of their entire life without God. And now all of a sudden he's shown up in the last 5%, and we expect them to be super faithful. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right? Should we blame them for that? Should we give them a pass? Is it their fault?
I think they're kind of slow to see what God is doing.
They're slow. They're really slow. Right? Let me answer that with a different mindset. I don't want you to tell me, I don't need any information besides a raising of your hand. Okay? Raise your hand if you feel or you know that you have personally experienced something supernatural from God. Whether that be an angel or a spiritual experience that you cannot explain. Right? The majority of us in this room. Okay? Which is good. That's great. I love that. Raise your hand again if that experience shaped your faith. Usually it does. 75% of the time it does. Okay? If it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Like all of this is good. Okay? So most of us in this room, let alone in our church, have had some type of supernatural experience that had a major effect on the way that we view God. To this day. And that happened probably in a very short, specific, small amount of time. Now, in Exodus, over the past however long you want to think that the plagues happened, right? At least 2 months, but we could probably expand that to about 6 months. They have seen time after time after time again these supernatural, massive events that should not be happening. And yet, God delivers them out of the slavery bondage of Egypt. So it's natural for us to think that 6 months, that year, however long it was, should completely reshape the way that the Israelites think about God. To the point where maybe they should think twice about grumbling.
Yeah, and it could be that it's not the whole group that's grumbling, but you've got those few that grumble louder than the ones that don't grumble. I'm just saying it could be that.
I'm pretty sure it's about 99.99% That's okay.
But isn't this the same that we see over and over again in the Bible? And I don't want to jump way ahead, but
Go ahead. No,
people,
I talk about it.
when you're newly introduced to the faith, like they were, right? And God makes this promise. He promises all of us, salvation, help in our lives. we get it in our heads how he should do that. They're looking at this and saying, well, God could have just left us in Egypt and made us the bosses. We could have been the ruler there. And it's no different than the disciples who thought, well, Jesus should stay on earth and make us the rulers
Be a
here.
king, yeah.
That's our human nature, is how we're always trying to tell God in the back of our minds,
And
we
maybe
want,
not so much in the back of our minds,
maybe
but
right
loud with our
out
mouths,
loud.
right?
I would love this in my life, but I want it this way, you know?
I always think of that money commercial.
It's my money.
It's my money and I want it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of-
J.G. Wentworth. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of see where this whole thing is coming from. Is it good? No, it's not good. But you see it time and again, and even in our own lives. I mean, I don't know if I was in their position,
You're
if
not.
I would have been any better. I love to eat, so I would have probably
I'm
been
eating right now.
pretty upset.
Look at poor Lazarus. Had to come back into the sinful
I-
world. I mean, he was there in heaven and he got drawn out of there.
So you know how I don't know if your families do this, and I'm not going to say this to make my family sound more pious. You're not more pious. Oh, but like, if you ever had someone ask you the question, if you could meet anybody in the Bible, who would you meet and why? Right? Like just to try to get a conversation starter, right? You know, and everyone said, well, I want to meet Jesus. Oh, well, good. Pick someone that's not Jesus, right? Like, and so a lot of people say Moses, a lot of people say Peter, a lot of people say John, some people say Daniel or David or Solomon. Yeah. For me, I would want to meet Lazarus. Because I want to ask him what is going on. Because you actually died for 3 days. I want to know what happened in those 3 days. Right? I would like not to like know for certain, but more to know so I can teach you. Right? Like this is what happens, you know? Because he's Mary and Martha's brother, right? So he witnessed the Mary and Martha thing, and he was maybe at the wedding at Cana, and he was maybe at, you know, like all of these events that he would have been around for, but he's experienced both sides of it. Like, how awful is the earth compared to what you experienced when you died? Like that's the question that I want to ask. But sure, like if you want to meet Solomon and see all the splendor, like that's great. Like I love that. I would find that important. But I think if we skip past verse 3 and don't talk about the grammar, it would be a sad thing. So like when I read it, I said how weird it is in English. It makes a lot of sense in Spanish to take the verb die, to die, and you put it in the past tense, and then you put it in like this condition. Would is a conditional statement that like you want this thing to happen, but it didn't. So would that we had died. It's like saying we wish we would have died. They're wanting their own death over the God of life.
What they're saying is they'd rather die than suffer.
Well, they'd rather die than suffer, but they'd also rather die than follow God.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that's the kicker.
It's what Jane said, they want it their way.
Pardon?
It's what Jane said, they want it their way.
My money, I want to know. Yeah.
always put too much emphasis on the physical. And Jesus was, don't you think Jesus was disappointed when that, the raising of Lazarus, that the people always, thought physically, they weren't thinking of the spiritual, And I don't know, he made some comment there, I can't think of what it is now. It was like he was almost disappointed that
It's in the Gospel of Luke. You can look it up. I don't know what phrase you're referring to specifically, but I'd be happy to hear it.
yeah,
If you can find it.
if they, if they only could look beyond that to what's coming, He was disappointed that they could never see beyond their physical situation right then.
So remember that, because that is going to be the key for next week. All right. So remember what he said. Go to the back of your brain. Right. Good. Next paragraph here. Verse 4. And the Lord said to Moses, "Behold, I am about to rain bread from heaven for you. And the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. On the sixth day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather daily." So Moses and Aaron said to the people of Israel, "At evening you shall know that it is the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard grumbling against the Lord. For what are we that you grumble against us?" And Moses said, "When the Lord gives you in the evening meat to eat, and in the morning bread to be full, because the Lord has heard your grumbling, that you grumble against him. What are we? Your grumbling is not against us, but against the Lord."
I don't think Job ever grumbled, did he?
Not in the same way. Job did a lot of questioning, but I don't know if you want to put the question in the same category as grumbling. It gets really close, especially at the end of the book. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, chapters 38 through 40, it gets pretty rough. Where, like, Job keeps on going down the steps because he's listening to his friends, right? And it goes down into depression. And then all of a sudden, chapter 42, God's like, "Hey, where were you when I made all this stuff? I made you. Listen to me. What's the matter with you?" And then it gets all this stuff. Right? So yeah, Job is pretty dramatic. When we get to Job is by far the most philosophical book of the Old Testament, which is why I don't recommend people read Job. There's nothing wrong with it. Like if you do it, I love that for you, right? Got an appointment? Yeah. But if someone's going through a rough time, don't tell them to read Job.
Yeah.
You wanna give, because we instantly think, oh hey, like God knows what they're going through. We want them to see how in the Bible people also go through hard times so that they're not alone. That's not how people read Job. People read Job as he's questioning God. I'm going to question God. Maybe I shouldn't even believe in God anymore because my life isn't going well. That's not helpful, right? We want to bring them to the gospel and bring them to the good gifts of God, which we're going to find in the New Testament, probably in the Gospel of John. Okay? Good. What else in this paragraph?
He's testing them as just to take what you need for that day and don't take more than you need.
And how do you feel about that?
I think it's just a test of their faith.
Yeah. How do we?
Because if I was grumbling, I would probably want to take more stuff. report
Just-
it.
Well, just in
Recover, I
case.
guess.
For tomorrow.
Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna see how that works out for them. It's not gonna work out too well for them, but, we'll get there. How do we feel about testing?
It's a slippery slope.
Tell me about it.
Well, you start out with, in small ways, and, you know, and in a way it's questioning the Lord, questioning his plan. He doesn't always reveal his plan to us,
Right?
but we have to have faith that it's there. So
Right.
when these tests come, if you question them, it just reinforces that lack of faith.
So, I'm gonna ask the same question again, and I would like, a yes or no answer. Do you like being tested? Nope. Nope, 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 nope.
Nope.
However, surprise, surprise, we don't get a choice.
Right.
So, what do we do when we get tested? We grumble. What should we do when we get tested?
Try our best.
No, boo, boo. What's that from? The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Boo, boo. No, don't try your best. Well, yes, you should try your best, but that's not going to mean anything. Because your best is not good enough. What?
Pray.
Pray. Read your Bible. Go to church. More than you normally do. Right? If you're being tested, you should study hard. You should study harder. Right? Harder than you normally do. Right? So that's a really good message. Or cheat.
Wait a minute.
If you can tell me how to cheat at life, I'm interested in hearing that. Okay? So yeah, so I mean that's all it is. You're being tested, sir. What does God want in these paragraphs? He's just like, hey man, when I'm here, rely on me. Right? So when we're being tested, it's the same thing. Right? There's nothing new here. What?
We are tested every day.
Tell me about it.
Get up in the morning, there's always something.
Sometimes just getting out of bed is a test. Amen, hallelujah.
Mhm.
Right?
Amen. Yes.
Johnny's over there. Amen.
Mattress.
Yeah, go visit St. Matthew. Yeah, so the answer to testing is study more. How do you study? Open up the Bible, pray, go to church. You can come to church and you tell me, I'll open up the church for you. You just have your own little prayer time in church. I'll say a prayer with you real quick. You do your own thing. Like, it doesn't matter. It's what we're here for. Right? It's good stuff. So no, we don't like being tested. But you ask any second grade teacher, are tests good?
They have a purpose.
They have a purpose and they are helpful. Right? Even if you don't like it. Tough luck. Right? What else in this paragraph?
Okay, you don't want people to come together, but about to rain bread from heaven right away, I'm thinking, okay, communion, Jesus, the whole thing, right there.
You're allowed to talk about Jesus. I'm not gonna tell you not to talk about Jesus.
Go ahead, that's.
Yes, so I want you to say that same thing and explain it with some more words besides that whole thing. That's okay.
Okay, I am about to rain bread from heaven, not, it's the physical. bread, Jesus, from heaven, my only son, who is going to feed you spiritually. Enough?
How do you feel
Good,
about that?
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right? That'll preach.
Mhm.
Right? Good. Any other comments about that? Can you extend it more? Push it forward?
Well, you know, you go further, say go out and gather a day's portion every day.
Every day?
Which means pray, study your Bible, and when yes, daily, that's a good word. When Sunday rolls around, you know where you should be.
You get a double portion.
There you are.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Ah, there you go. Did you hear what she said?
Uh-uh.
Give us this day our daily bread. We get it daily.
Mhm.
Not once a week, not for 5 minutes in your close of prayer. Open up your Bible. Okay? Good connection to Jesus. Using the same word, daily.
And daily bread does not refer to just physical things that you need. It certainly does not. It's what we need spiritually, what we need to grow and to nourish our faith.
Excellent.
Mhm.
I like it. Bread from heaven.
We'll change the word up.
You could probably change the words to some communion hymn. I should suggest that for the next hymn hall.
You want to go one step further?
Go ahead.
And in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord. Resurrection.
Do it. Do it.
Nice.
Do it. And also, if we're getting this bread of heaven at church in the form of Jesus' body,
Communion.
we get communion in
Back to
the morning, which is also the glory of the Lord. So it all kind of wraps up in a nice, neat little ball for you. And so everything we've said in the last 5 minutes, remember all of that, because we're going to need all of it for next week. Okay? Yeah. Write it down everywhere. Do you want to talk about the 6th day gather double portion?
You're not supposed to do nothing on the phone.
You're not supposed to do nothing on the Sabbath, which is the rest day, right? Why?
Keep it holy.
Well, good. So that's from the commandment that we're going to get to Exodus chapter 20. Okay. So, but you remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Why do we do that?
Because on the seventh day, God rested.
Because it goes back to Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, that if God rests, it's good enough for you.
And go into do not despise preaching and his word.
Ooh. Yes. I should do that next year for Christmas. All you that come once a year, do not despise the Lord and his teaching. Come every week. I won't.
You could use that every Sunday when you think that you don't have a good sermon or the sermon is too hard.
Well, you know, what I was thinking about doing, especially since we're going to be doing the commandments this summer, is that some Lutheran churches add a catechetical instruction time during the service where they read sections from the catechism to help them remember the catechism that we keep on saying that we're supposed to remember, that our confirmands are being forced to memorize, right? So like, it's not like another sermon, it's where we just say, what is the first commandment and what is the meaning? And we read that. And we just put that on a rotation, where we go through the entire catechism in 1 year, and we start over. And so that eventually, like the same thing like the service, we end up memorizing it by proxy. Because I'm getting the feedback that I'm getting, you can tell me if I'm wrong, is that maybe we don't know our catechism as well as we do, or maybe we have forgotten things that we used to have memorized, and maybe, I'm not trying to put anything on you, maybe we're not really practicing that at home, and so then we need to do that in church to make sure it's happening.
Excellent idea.
Yeah? All right. Well, when we get to the commandments, maybe we'll do that. We'll see how it goes for 10 weeks. Well, we started a little late. Okay, so verse 9. And Moses said to Aaron, say to the whole congregation of the people of Israel, come near before the Lord, for he has heard your grumbling. And as soon as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of Israel, they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. And the Lord said to Moses, I have heard the grumbling of the people of Israel. Say to them, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and then you will know that I am Yahweh, your God.
Very good. In the morning, you shall be filled with bread.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you wonder what the glory of the Lord looked like in the cloud.
Wouldn't that be nice to see? Do you think it was more of a mist? Do you think it was more like a cumulus cloud? Do you think it was more like smoke? Do you think it was more like a rainbow? Do you think it was more like light coming out of a cloud?
Like God is light. Light.
Some form of light.
Radiance.
Radiance. That's good.
Wispy cloud up there, brightness.
The cirrus clouds?
And every color that you can think of is coming.
That'd be beautiful.
The cirrus clouds would be pretty hard to form closer to there. I mean, God could be closer.
God's got it or not.
That's right. That's right. Good.
Yeah, the glory of the Lord shone forth, and they were so afraid.
Oh, you're so King James. I love that. What's a sore afraid? Okay, never understood that. Okay. So they were afraid with great fear, is what the Greek says. With a big fear. Do the Israelites seem afraid?
Well, they immediately are looking out into the wilderness when Aaron said that, and so they that horrible rain cloud.
What is it? Is that from? It's from Winnie the Pooh.
No, that was
Just
could
a
be
little
peanuts.
black rain cloud hovering over the honey tree.
No, there's someone in the Old Testament that saw the rain cloud. They hadn't had rain for so long.
Elijah,
they hadn't had rain for so long, and he said, "There's going to be rain." And he stood there, and there's a cloud.
way off in the cloud over